All right, we have our first run, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, any percent new game plus no zips, run by lauriedbunnykins. How are you doing? Yeah, I know I am. This is gonna be awesome.
Are we ready to go?
I believe so.
All right. So, real quick before the run starts, I should introduce myself in the game. Hi, my name is lauriedbunnykins. This is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. It's probably my favorite game that's come out this year. It's really good. And today I'm going to be doing New Game Plus with a no zips. So, pretty much zipping compared to every other glitch, it allows you to travel multiple screens at once, which is really strong, especially when you go through walls. So there's still going to be a lot of glitches, but if we want to go somewhere, we have to get there physically. New Game Plus just means we start with every ability and badge, and that we can collect upgrades in any order. So you're going to see how I use that pretty much immediately as I get into the run. With that being said, I am ready to go. So I'll give it a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I kind of didn't do that countdown the best there.
Good luck.
All right, so immediately we have a skip. So I mentioned we start with every badge and ability in the game. I'm going to equip the teleport badge here and teleport past this cutscene trigger that stops me from leaving the opening level, and we don't have to play it. So the teleport badge is really broken. It's branded in-game as a cheater's badge, of which there are 6, and they're intentionally very broken. So having access to it from the very start, thanks to New Game Plus, is kind of strong. And we're going to be using it a lot along with another cheater's badge I'll talk about later when we actually equip it for the first time. The first area of the game we go to here, pretty much the story is that we need to get these 4 giant batteries that these people are using to, like, power their city. The first area we go to here is this sports district where the dungeon is right there. It's just, you know, it's just that stadium at the start of the area. But the only seating available in the stadium is the fan club seating. So we need to build a fan club of at least 5. To do that, I'm going to try and do a trick here that I'm flubbing a little bit, but it's pretty precise, called teleport warping, where I use the teleport at the same time I transition to another screen. And it puts me kind of on the new screen with my position that I'm teleporting to. And that's really helpful because it can let me, like, skip to random parts of the screen that I shouldn't be able to get onto normally. The reason this area is really good to start the run on, though, is because after the first fan we collect, every subsequent fan gives us $350. So throughout the 4 other fans than the starting one we collect, we get $1,400, which is just a really good money baseline for a lot of the stuff we're going to want to buy later in the run. But with that last teleport warp there, we have all 5 fans here, so we're going to be able to finally start the first dungeon, the Poultry FC Stadium. This stream is not sponsored by Steak, but I'm betting anyways. We'll get into that later, but this dungeon is also just going to make more use of teleport warps. You're going to see 1 to skip a key there, 1 to skip a long section to a battery here, of which batteries are kind of like keys. There are keys and batteries in this game, and they have different keyholes to open different things. So we're going to use it here. And then we're going to do 1 last room here. Now, this dungeon is usually where you get the wall ride, which is one of the abilities I started with in New Game Plus. So, you're going to see a lot of use of it there. I didn't mean to do that like that, but it's fine. There we go. I scuffed this a little bit. We're good, though. So we need to hit these 3 switches in this room to get out. and we can just kind of wall ride past all of them. And then usually this would be the halfway point of the dungeon where we would do this like arena fight and then come back to the same arena after doing the right side of the dungeon. You can see like the hockey arena there. But I'm going to try and do 2 teleport warps, one to skip the hockey arena and one to just warp straight into the boss fight here. And now for the first boss fight, we're playing football, I guess you could call it. It's kind of the idea of like non-American football, but it's an American football ball. We just have to get the ball to the goal 3 times, and we can score the point. After the first fight here, I'm going to back up a little bit just to be careful, but I think I'm... Okay, good. After the first point, they add these light barriers to the game, which are really scary because the football can't go through the light barriers, and there's actually a really unfortunate thing where if you teleport on top of a light barrier, your football will get sent back to the last position it was at, which is like back before the teleport. So that's like really bad if that happens, but thankfully that didn't happen at all. And that's going to be our first Mega Battery. So like I said, there are 4 of these we have to collect before we can fight the final boss, and I got one of them in under 5 minutes. As soon as that's done, we are going to take off the teleport badge and equip our other cheater badge of the run. This is the train badge, and the train badge just makes all of our movement faster. So like this is, as you can see, just kind of good. It does work in tandem with our other movement abilities, such as our wall ride and walk the dog, which is just this like movement ability I'm using a lot. So that's really nice. But we also pay off our debt there. So after we do the first battery, there are these 2 cousins you can find in the overworld that like help you upgrade your equipment. But if you collect a Mega Battery without having one of them, they just show up in your safe house automatically. So we get access to the upgrade tree there, where instead of just paying for the upgrade normally, we kind of get the upgrade immediately, but get a like drawback that we have to pay off the debt of the upgrade in order to like get rid of the drawback and then start another upgrade. So we take a upgrade that adds 1 to our damage, but removes 1 from our max HP. But we use the money we got from the sports betting at the start of the dungeon to just pay off the debt immediately. And that's going to be a really big part of this route, is the upgrades we pick up and the money routing we do to get rid of them. But it's also a pretty big part, the money routing is a pretty big part of the badge setup, where I also found our second cousin who can upgrade badges, and I'm going to upgrade 2 badges to make them cost less badge points. And the reason for that will be important in a little bit, but first I'm going to do another skip with the teleport badge here. I also picked up a key from a side room and didn't use it for its reward, instead opting to just throw it in my safe house for now. This is because keys are universal in this game. I didn't mean to do that. Keys are universal in this game, so if I get a key anywhere, I can use it on any key door. So that's going to be useful to do some skips later. But for now, I do a teleport clip there. I teleport between an NPC and a wall, and it just pushes me through the wall. So...
Is now a good time for a quick announcement?
Yeah. Right now, I just kind of have to go to the top of this dungeon to get an item and then leave, so now it's the right time.
Perfect. We have our first bid war up. It is choose the run companion for the next run, Wings of V. It's help Relptica choose which little buddy will follow her throughout the Wings of V run. And your options are Blob, Boshi, Bunny, Dog, and Pet Rock. So if you donate and want to put your donation towards that bid, make sure to do that. And that will be closing at the start of that run, which is just over 30 minutes away. So make sure if you want to get your donations in here shortly.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Bunny, obviously, so you already know.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but, yeah, in that little mini dungeon, we got, the slime staff ID, which is a required item to enter the second main dungeon of the game here, which is the slime excavation site, where I'm immediately going to skip most of it. We're going to use the wall ride to make it to this, like, bottom left portion here. And then, after grabbing this money to help with our current upgrade, I'm going to do a wall ride off of this wall all the way down here. And this skips, like, a decent chunk of the dungeon. It technically doesn't skip too much, but it skips pretty much every, like, enemy, arena, and key door that would otherwise, like, be a struggle to get through. So it's still a really nice skip, just for us to not have to spend time on those. And now we're in the back of this dungeon. I'm going to grab money here, and while I grab it, you're going to see I pay off the second debt. So the debt I picked up, the upgrade I picked up when I entered the skyscraper, adds a bunch of damage to our charge attacks, which I haven't used one yet, because we haven't really done combat yet. The downside of it, however, is that I lose 2 bad points, which is why I wait until I've upgraded the, It's why I wait until I upgraded the train badge to pick it up, because otherwise I can't wear it. But here, we're going to finally pay it off, and also pick up our last upgrade of the run, which is going to up my badge points by 2. This allows me to wear the upgraded train badge and demon badge at the same time. The demon badge sets my damage, or sets my life max to 2. However, it also doubles my damage. The game's base starting damage is 5, and it adds 5 to your damage. So it essentially doubles it. We did take an upgrade that ups our damage by 1, but the negative of this upgrade we have currently for the BP is that it puts us down 1 damage, and we're not going to end up paying this one before the end of the run. But 10 damage is still more than 5, so it's pretty good there. And yeah, as you saw with all of my damage upgrades, that boss just kind of went, thanks to the flurry attack. I mentioned I had gotten an upgrade to up my charge damage specifically, and it's really good for the flurry attack, because the flurry attack is just like a bunch of short-range blows all at once. It's one of the better damage options in the game. With that being done, though, I am going to grab another key. This is another situation like earlier where I'm grabbing a key and not using it immediately because of the way keys work in this game. Again, if I can bring a key somewhere, I can use it on that door. So I'm going to make my way to the third dungeon we're going to go to here in Retalia Town, where the obstacle blocking the dungeon for new game is just like a small body of water, and we have the ability, lets us go over it, so we're just gonna go into the dungeon. And then this dungeon usually requires 4 keys. We have 3 of them from outside of the dungeon. So we just pop 2 of them in here. I'm gonna grab the last one. And then there's one more in the dungeon, because this is normally the dungeon where you get walk the dog. So you usually get it in this like up left branch of the mall that I'm about to go to. So you usually have to go in a giant loop, and then you use the ability you just got to like come back here from the right side, but we just kind of grab it because we have the ability. Alright, and now we're in the back half of this dungeon, the secret crying oil plant. We're immediately going to skip half of it, because what else would I do? We are going to put the teleport badge on, line up pretty specifically here, and not fall in the water, oil. And then if I throw the teleport badge at the right position, like that, it throws it through the blocks there, and I can just skip having to open it. And again, that's like half the dungeon. Also, using teleport there skips the fight trigger in that room, so I don't have to do the enemy arena, and we can just go on through the rest of the dungeon. From here, I still have to do a couple rooms that aren't too intriguing, so Nene, if you have any announcements you'd like to make, now is great time.
Yeah, I have a $25 donation from Carrarium saying donate with your favorite Halloween candy so we can start some discourse. Long live Archie, trans rights. Couldn't agree more. But yeah, what? How about you? What is your favorite Halloween candy?
I mean, I think the objectively correct answer is probably just like, I really like Twix bars. But to sow the seeds of chaos, because it is still in what I would probably consider my top 3, I am going to, as the opening runner of Archiethon 666, going to take a stance in favor of candy corn.
Oh no. I mean, I know there are some candy corn haters, but yeah, it's fine.
I love candy corn.
I don't know if I have one. It's hard for me to choose, but like anything like gummy and sweet, like, is just enjoyable.
Yeah, that's fair. This boss fight, we can talk about candy. It's honestly not too much going on.
Yeah.
He likes to do a lot of bullets that like bounce around the diagonals in the arena. In every phase, he gets a new gun as well. But the main thing is that he just likes to stand still a lot, and that means we can just kind of walk up to him and flurry attack, and he dies. And that's boss number 3. So yeah, that's a fun boss. That was the boss that was actually in the demo, which I played this game's demo run a little bit, and oh my goodness, there were so many strats that we did not find in the demo. But that's a really fun. It's just a really fun fight. And so now we only have 1 mega battery left before we can head to the final boss, which the final dungeon is actually the mansion we start the game in, but it changes. It technically changes before we get all 4 batteries, but we still need all 4 batteries because the final boss won't spawn without it. But here we're going to see teleport for the last time, so if you like the allure of teleporting everywhere, we got one more big one for you. Pretty much this cutscene, or this like dungeon entrance is blocked off by a cutscene, which we have already established we can teleport past. And then this boss fight, you're supposed to go around the whole dungeon, but the barrier blocking you from entering the dungeon is just an NPC, which you can also throw your yo-yo and teleport through. So that means we can kind of just teleport past not only the entire dungeon, but the key to enter the dungeon in the first place. I do need to be careful with teleporting behind the dungeon to not hit the like boss trigger, because okay, that's a new one. Because we do want to get our demon and train badges back on for this boss. This is Lincoln, and he's probably one of the annoying bosses in this run, where he likes to jump around a lot. I'm not doing great on positioning. Yeah, as you see, he's not even, like, I'm not doing anything and he's not even attacking. He's just kind of jumping. So we just need to kind of keep track of him. If we get a good flurry on him, it kind of traps him in place sometimes, which is really nice. Sometimes he knocks our yo-yo off the string, which means it does no damage. And then in phases 2 and 3, there's this shield girl that shows up, and we have to... Okay, hold on. There we go. Why is she running? I've never seen her just straight up run like this. Okay. Usually I get to her fast enough that she doesn't do that. I didn't even know that was an option she could do. There we go. Yeah, no, that's one of the most annoying fights in the run. You can kind of, like, lock him in place with a good flurry attack, but he can be hard to catch, and I was just quite really impatient. So, it is what it is, but... that is the last Mega Battery, which means we're about to head to the final boss. We do also have a whole final dungeon, like a whole final dungeon, so it's not like we're almost done, but we're like almost done. So, yeah, like I said, we just kind of have to go back to the mansion that we started the game in and skip the entire intro of. But we get to do it this time. So we just have to go up a few screens here. Usually you have to do this, like, trial in the sewers, but since we opened the gates from above when we skipped the intro, we don't have to do them this time. And this section's pretty simple. For a while, it's just, again, a retread of the game's opening, but you can see all these, like, floors crumbling and stuff in the skipped cutscenes. So we have to use our abilities, mostly just the wall ride, to get around it all. And then we do have a fight arena here. We skip so many of these, but they are, like, all over the game. This is one of the ones we actually have to do. So... there it is. That shield enemy is supposed to block that baseball enemy, and that baseball enemy is one of the most annoying enemies in the game. But if we're far enough to the right when it spawns, it just doesn't notice us, so it doesn't, like, activate. But now we're in kind of the main body of the dungeon here. There is an elevator into the secret lab in the middle of the main room there. But we need to get rid of 2 key locks, a clump of mud, and a battery lock in order to... okay, I didn't mean to do that. In order to get to the elevator. So we have to go around the dungeon getting all of those things, mostly. I'll talk about it in a moment, but pretty much we have a skip, because of course we do. It still requires getting these lasers, though. You can see these lasers that are starting to appear on the ground, and I would usually do a damage boost here, but unfortunately, since I just took that damage there, I can't do it. Did I mess this up? Did I just get myself killed and dead? Yes, I did. Okay, well, you're gonna see the damage boost, I guess. Yeah, that was just whatever. Yeah, so usually what we would do here is if you take damage... alright, I'm going through it. Usually, if you take damage, you would... there we go. Usually, if you take damage when collecting the green coins, it would make you restart. So you would get all the green coins in that room and then just fall to go back to the right, is what I'm trying to say. But I didn't do it very correctly. It's fine. So now we have our own of these, like, portable laser things. And we're going to use that to be able to melt the mud ourselves. So like I said, we need 2 keys, 1 of these lasers, and a battery. We're gonna get 1 key. I'm gonna dip in here to heal because we have to take an intentional hit. And the alternative is another death animation. So we're gonna grab our laser, go up here, and usually this is like a thing where you have to drag this laser through a bit of a dungeon to activate the bombs in the back here with the laser. But you can just kind of do an off-string throw against the wall there, and the explosion hitbox hits from behind. And then we're going to do a skip here. I'm going to line up very specifically and press the right button. I have a lineup. I usually use Pipit's shadow here on the corner of the bushes, but it's still pretty precise. That should be good. No. Okay. This one might take tries. Is that good? Nope. There we go. Okay, yeah. If we do it just right, that laser is supposed to stay kind of on a grid on the ground. If we're in just the right position, the grid kind of breaks a little. And that allows us to only get 1 key before getting straight into this final escape sequence here. So, with that done, we now have this escape sequence. We accidentally activated the self-destruct, and we need to turn it off so that we don't self-destruct. So this is probably the last chance you have if you want to get any announcements in, because this game's final boss is pretty difficult, and I'll probably want to, like, talk and focus during it.
All right, yeah. We have a $5 donation from Cactus saying, "Happy Archiethon, everyone," putting this towards the Boshi companion for Wings of V. And we have $5 from Amberlum's Archie saying Blob and putting $5 towards Blob. Just remember, we're gonna only have about 15 or 20 minutes left of that bid war. So if you want to contribute to that, make sure to get your donations here shortly. And good luck with finishing off this run.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, that happens. Yeah, we're almost done with this escape sequence. After this room, there's like one more room that's like kind of an auto-scroller because there's blocks exploding in front of us, and we can't like beat it. So we just have to kind of wait for them to explode. But this is the last room of the sequence, so there we go. There we go. And now it's time for the final boss. So, final boss comes in 2 phases. First one is probably not going to look very bad. Second one is bad. So yeah, if I do this first one right, it should be fine. Pretty much, with all of our attack damage, we do really strong. So, the Mega Batteries here, they act as a shield for the boss, kind of, but there's always a bit of space in between her and the batteries that we can, like, worm our way between. And that's phase 1. Phase 2 is a couple minutes. Time is going to be when the health bar runs out, which there's a little sequence once it hits 1 before it runs out fully. So I'll make sure I point out when that starts. But this fight is a lot harder. She has a lot more health, and between everything, after doing enough damage, you have to do these like little platforming challenges using all of the abilities you've gotten throughout the game that we're in New Game Plus. We have all of them. But we still have to be really careful. Obviously, this fight on 2 health is no joke. Thankfully, usually these platforming challenges have health in them, but you have to, be able to perform them under pressure. This is like one of the only instances where I'm like, it's a little bit of a curse at times to have the train badge because the high speed can mess with your physics at points, and make some of these challenges like a lot more slippery than they're meant to be. So I have to be careful there, but thankfully I've been doing pretty good so far. I get to this phase at around a quarter of her health down, where she makes me get the 4 batteries like in that like circle. And once I get out of that phase, that is a checkpoint. So now if I die, I'll get sent back there, which is nice, because this fight is hard, and that checkpoint used to not exist. There's going to be another situation like that at the halfway point of the fight, and that used to be the only checkpoint this fight had. But thanks to that one, this fight is a fair bit more consistent. Not what I meant to do. There we go. Nope. There we go. Yeah, so we're probably like 1 or 2 more like hardcore challenges away from... Yeah, okay. So here we have a second battery phase. Just like kind of similar to the first one, except we have to go over these pits here. Once this is done, not only is that going to be our last checkpoint for the fight, but this is our last like hardcore challenge section. The rest of the fight is just going to be dealing damage until her health is at 1 and we get to that final sequence. She focuses a lot more on direct attacks here. She has this like giant flash thing going on that we're trying to jump over. And yeah, I just walked into her by accident. When you jump in this game, you actually have really good invincibility for like most of the jump. So I am trying to use that a lot in this fight, because I can just kind of jump over anything, even if it doesn't really look like I should be able to. But you still have to kind of keep on track. And again, she has contact damage, so I'm trying to be really careful. These spit out flames. There we go. So time is, I'm going to hit these 4 batteries down, and then time is going to be when I hit her, which is going to be 3, 2, 1, time. And that's Pipistrello and the Curse Yo-Yo, New Game Plus, no zips!
GG, very nicely done.
Yeah, that run is really fun. Again, I learned the game as pretty much as soon as it came out. I routed New Game Plus. And even when we found zips, which for context, my record in this category is like a low 25. With zips, New Game Plus is sub 15. So like they're strong. But post zips, I'm still really like the only person who's still playing prominently zipless. So it's really fun to show off. But I love this game no matter the category, really. I just kind of want to give general shout-outs to the whole community. I don't have any particular names, except I will root for Silver and Shin, because The AGDQ schedule comes out in, I think, like a week and a half. And I know they submitted this game, so I hope they get in. I don't have too much else to say other than just generally, yeah, no, this is a really cool game. I can't recommend playing it yourself enough. It's such a good game. Again, genuinely, like, my favorite game of the year, probably. And I've made decent progress into Silk Song and Pokemon. So, like, there you go. With that being said, though, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for the opportunity to open this Archiethon. I haven't been on an Archiethon in like 2.5 years, so this is such an honor. And I hope you guys have a great... We still have the full weekend ahead of us, so have a great weekend.
Yeah, awesome run. And yeah, great opener. That was so cool to watch, especially since... Great introduction to this game. Looks really fun to play. All right, awesome first run. Coming up, we have Wings of V, Any Percent New Game Plus Mortal by Relptica. And for that, we do have that bid war closing at the start of the run. So we have Blob and Boshi both winning with $5. So if you wanna see one of those win or any other, make sure you get those donations in. And we do have a $50 donation from Mom saying for Nene. I'm assuming that was from my mom. Thank you for the $50. And yeah, just like that, we're already up to $100. That's awesome. We're barely even an hour in and already at $100. That's awesome. And just mentioning again, we are raising this money for Point of Pride. And let's talk about their guiding principles. The heart of Point of Pride's mission is to provide powerful affirmation for trans people. They serve the members of the community who face the biggest challenges in accessing the care they need, taking an equity-based approach to address the failures of unequal levels of privilege and access. Their programs create transformative changes for the recipients of their care, extending beyond the direct service that they provide. Through this, they foster trans joy, celebrating the resilience, beauty, and power of the people they serve. For more information, please visit pointofpride.org.